gotta time the sound with the video.
Oh, all right. You do the clap.
Wait, do you need another one? What do you need?
No, I can work with this. That's fine. That's fine.
I can work with this. I can work with this. All right, today we have my very good friend, Jessica Johnson. Welcome to the show. We're live in Vegas.
Thanks so much for having me today, Ben.
You're nervous?
I'm terrified.
Okay, well, let's get over that quickly. All right, what have you been up to? What's the latest and greatest? What should we talk about today? We should talk about your new podcast, maybe.
Oh, gosh, I don't have a podcast.
No, but we're
Maybe
going to launch
someday.
one. We should launch one.
That sounds like a big dream.
Yeah, because you're the expert in coding.
All things mid-rev cycle.
Yeah, give me the background, because I know a bit of your story, but I think it'd be fun to walk through a little bit of life of Jessica.
Sounds good. Well, let's start back in 2002. That's when I had my daughter, when I was 19.
Okay. That
Yes.
seems large. Wait, where did you grow up, though?
I grew up in Marinette, Wisconsin,
Okay.
and I remained there my entire life until I was 34.
Is that near Madison? Where's Marinette?
It's actually an hour north of Green Bay.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
far.
So we're right on the border of Menominee, Michigan.
Holy cow. So
Yeah.
you're in the UP, basically.
You could say that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like a different world.
But we're still Packer fans. So,
Of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
go Pack.
Yeah. No surprise.
Yes.
Wow. So you small town.
Small town. Had my daughter when I was 19 and needed to figure out
Assuming
am I
that
gonna
wasn't
do?
planned. You weren't planning to have a daughter.
I wasn't planning to have a daughter. I actually had her on my birthday.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
she's probably the best birthday present I've ever had.
Incredible. Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
Were you in college at the time, or you were
I wasn't. I was actually pregnant for the second half of high school.
oh my gosh.
And so it was really, really a challenging time for me. Trying to figure out, what am I going to do? I'm a mom. I'm raising a daughter on my own. And so I really needed to figure out, how am I going to support her? How am I going to teach her that there's more available in life?
Wow. Were
Yeah.
your parents supportive, or was it I don't know. I can't imagine that's got to be traumatic.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't traumatic. I know that when I had her, it was, she was a blessing. She was a blessing for me in so many ways. I feel like in my high school days, I was kind of a wild child, had a lot of fun. And, through those learnings, it really taught me you can have fun, but you can also work hard. And so having her gave me purpose, and it
Yeah.
fueled me to figure out, I was a young mom. I needed to be able to provide for her. I wanted to give her a better life than I had. And I had really supportive mom. I had a mom who worked so incredibly hard. She taught me so much about work. She spent long days, late nights, time away from home, just to be able to provide for us and make sure that we had
Amazing.
a living and a good life. And I thank her all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
I also apologize to her for, being a wild child.
All right. So Jessica has the baby. You have
Yeah.
a baby.
Have the baby.
And then what happens?
And then I started taking classes at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College.
Okay.
I took certificate programs. First, I started with basic transcription. Then I moved on to basic coding. And then I took a couple of additional classes. And then I was assessing, what am I going to do with this? I have 2 or 3 different certificates. And then I met with a college counselor, and they told me that I was halfway through the Registered Health Information Technology program. And so I signed up.
Yeah. Right. You're
I was like,
I guess I'll do this.
Yeah, I'm going to do this.
Right.
So signed up, completed my associate's degree in 2007. So slow pace. Took my time and completed that. I had an internship at Bay Area Medical Center
Yeah,
in Marinette, Wisconsin,
Okay. Yeah.
as a coder, and I was hired directly from that internship. So it was an amazing opportunity where they were investing in the people that they were educating. So it was really awesome.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a coder. You're doing the coding thing.
Yep. You bet.
This is what time frame?
So from 2007 to
Okay.
2010, I spent my time heads down coding, inpatient, outpatient, ED, same day surgery,
Doing all
charge
of it.
capture, all of it.
Awesome.
Had really great mentors, had really great people to work with, and decided that during that time, I want more. So during that same period, I went back to school. I got my second associate's degree in supervisory management.
Nice.
And then
okay.
an opportunity came up in the billing office, managing denials. So
Okay.
there's a revenue cycle systems manager role where I got to work on implementing all of the systems and technology that revenue cycle was selecting at the time, and then really focused on denials root cause analysis, creating some internal reason and remark codes to get to that root cause and help implement some solutions.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay.
Yes.
So then you're doing that piece. You're still working for Bay, right?
Still working for Bay Area Medical Center. I spent a year in that role. And then an opportunity came up on the professional side of the house. So the professional coding and billing director left or manager left the organization.
Yeah, exactly.
And my boss asked me if that would be a role that I'd be interested in. And I said, absolutely, but I don't know anything about PB. There's going to be a learning curve. And they said, that's okay. We think that you'll be able to figure it out. So I accepted the position as the manager of the, it was called Clinic Business Services Manager. And I was over all things PB, professional coding, professional billing, all of the outsource work, transcription.
Yeah.
So it was a good opportunity, a good role for me to a good first leadership role.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in that role shadowing the people who are doing the work. I sat side by side with them to listen, to learn, to hear what their barriers are. And then we worked together to solve problems and create more efficient processes. And then during that same time, went back to school again and got my bachelor's degree. So continued my education all the way through 2014.
Here's your bill.
Nice.
Yep, got my bachelor's degree in it was in applied studies with a focus in business management. And so during that time, the HIM director actually left the organization, and so another opportunity presented. And it was actually a job I wasn't going to apply for. I thought to myself that if I apply for this position and I don't get it, I might think it's a dead end for me. And then what? And so I had a conversation with the CFO, and he said, if you don't apply and you would have gotten it, then what?
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, it was a moment for me.
Can't win the hand you never play.
Exactly.
But yes.
Exactly. So I put my name in the hat. I applied for the position. I went through panel interviews with directors and VPs in the organization, and they thought I was the best person for the job. So I actually ended up becoming the director of the manager who initially hired me.
Nice.
Yes.
That's good. That's great. That's a great story.
Yeah. So those are my first 10 years, all at Bay Area Medical Center.
All right, fast forward, because I want to get to this part where you start a business.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So fast forward, 2017, my husband and I relocate to Hudson, Wisconsin. And
I don't know where that is. So
Okay.
you got to be more specific. Like, give us an idea. How far is it from where you were?
Yeah, so 4.5 hours from where I
okay.
was. So it was a big move. And it was on the other side of the state. So now Hudson is on the border of Minnesota.
So how'd you end up there? Like, what was the...
I had an opportunity to become a middle revenue cycle director at Hennepin Healthcare. So I went from leading a team of 35 to leading a team of 170 across HIM, coding, CDI, and then acquired revenue integrity.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Spent 4 years there. During that time, we did some really great work implementing new systems. We were in a HEMA Grace Award Honorable Mention organization. It was just really an awesome time. We had a great team.
So that was into the pandemic.
into the pandemic.
Okay.
That was an interesting time. Part of our team would actually help with some of the pandemic support, getting the systems up and ready and making sure that
crazy stuff.
yeah, I mean, it was intense. We also brought up a new facility, a CSC during that time. So it was almost like a new Epic install.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was a lot of great things that happened there. I spent 4 years there. And then I had an opportunity to grow again in my career at mHealth Fairview. So I accepted a system director of middle revenue cycles role at mHealth Fairview, overseeing a team of 400. So that was pretty amazing. Had an incredible team there, again, doing some really, really hard work, transformational work, improving so many metrics and performance indicators, and it was a turnaround. So we were working really hard to turn that organization around.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how long were you there for?
So I was there for about a year and a half. We went through some changes, and I decided at the end of the day that wasn't the best fit for me anymore. And so I actually left mHealth Fairview without a job. I decided that was not the right role or right fit for me. And I wanted to reprioritize the things that were most important to me and get back to what I was most passionate about. And that's really servant leadership, and giving people the space and grace to really be successful. And so I stepped away.
Yeah.
It was
Big
terrifying.
move. Terrifying.
Yes.
How did you then I'm going to start a business?
Yes. I've always wanted to have my own company. I actually thought maybe I'll have a boutique or an ice cream parlor
Sure.
or a coffee shop.
Right. Any one of those things.
And actually one of my good friends, Craig Olson, asked me, "Hey Jessica, would you ever be open to consulting?" And I was like, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? I could own my own company, doing what I love in the field of work that I love. And so that's what led me to form J2 in 2023.
So at the start, it's I've done a similar path, right? So it's a start. You're like, okay, I just need to make enough money to kind of survive. So you get a contract, right? So you got a contract.
Yes.
When does it start to turn into something more? Where you're like, oh, this could actually be when does that light bulb moment kind of happen?
Yeah, the light bulb moment happened for me about 6 months in. So again, big leap of faith, huge trust in God, and decided I'm going all in. And so my first contract, I was subcontracting for another organization, and they were absolutely incredible. They taught me some of the ropes, they shared information with me, and they really helped me on that journey. And so during that process, it made me realize this is really what I'm meant to be doing. If I can do this for one organization, I could do this for many. And so after that 6-month mark, I ended up getting my first direct contract with Freightert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, our buddy John.
Yes, John and Paul. They're amazing people and even better people to work with. But yeah, they gave me a chance. They said, we want you to help transform our middle revenue cycle. We want you to bring our HIM and coding departments who were previously under separate leadership together under one umbrella, and then help get us to a place where we can hire someone and then essentially help and then hand off. And that's exactly the model that we have at J2. So spent 10 months with Freightert. And during that time, that's when I realized this is really what I was meant to do. This is where I was meant to be. These are the people I was meant to work with. And prayed about it a lot, and then decided that I'm going to create a business. I'm going to bring people who love this work as much as I do on the team. We're going to grow. It's going to be organic growth. And so I set out on the journey to start building the team in 2024. And that was probably March of 2024. And by the end of the year, we had 7 contractors working with us. So it went from me to 7 additional people.
Yep.
And then 2025 decided organic growth is still the plan. We really locked tight on our mission and our values, created a website, started attending more industry events, meeting with more people. And now we have a team of 5 employees and 11 consultants. So we've grown pretty significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was it like, I guess some of these things are like just start happening naturally, right? But then also I think there's times where it happens and then you look back and you're like, oh, like how did, like I made that was, was I thinking there? Is there any kind of moments where you're like, looking back, I would have done this differently at the start, like, or had I known this? Sometimes it's like, you don't know, right? I always have this thing of like, you don't know. So it's like, I don't blame myself, but I also think back like, man, I wish I would have set it up like this or something like that, So I don't know. Do you have anything like that where you're like, man, I wish I would have done this differently?
The way that I view it is there's always an opportunity to like pivot.
Sure.
So we're very fortunate that we're small and nimble right now, and so we can pivot pretty quickly. Every day, I reflect every day. What worked well, what didn't work so well, what could I do different? I pray about it every day. I thank God every day. Like, thank you, God, for allowing me to be here in this room with you. Thank you for allowing me to have these conversations. Thank you for allowing me to partner with these groups. I just feel like that's been at the core of what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been kind of our foundation. And there are definitely things that when I do that reflection that I look back at and I go, probably could have done something different there. And I use those moments to say, okay, what are the things with everyone that I'm meeting, with everyone that I'm connecting with, what do I love about that person or about those people? And what are the things that I don't want to do? And so I try to ingest that, and then I try to practice those habits.
Yeah. Probably a better way to state the question would be like, because I think that one of the things I always say, you probably heard me say this, I always tell people I think everyone should go on their own for at least a year and work for themselves, because I feel like you just learn so much about yourself. A, like what you're unwilling to do. B, what you actually really love to do. And I think you untangle yourself from the world in which, this corporate world, which I don't know if you experienced this, but I experienced this in my first like 3-6 months, feeling this level of anxiety of like, well, how come my calendar's not full? I don't have all these meetings. Then you realize like, oh, a lot of those meetings are bullshit. And like, why do we have so many meetings? And what does work actually look like anymore? Like why are people like, when they get into big organizations, it's just their calendars are full, but I don't even know if any of those are like helpful. So some of this is like just untangling yourself from some corporate world you've learned. And I'm not saying any of those organizations you work for are bad. It's just like the nature of kind of getting big and complex, right? So I'm curious what you've learned about yourself in that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So stepping out of the corporate world in the day-to-day was so different because you have to have the highest level of accountability you've ever had if you want it to work.
Well, no one's telling you to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, anything.
Right. So
no one's doing a review. I haven't had a review. No one's done a review on me in 9 years.
Right?
10 years almost.
Yes.
10, you can believe that?
Yes.
But it's true. Even my people who work for me and my team, they're awesome. They'll push back on me, but it's a different kind of like thing, right? So
Exactly.
You do have to have self accountability.
Yeah, and it's the highest level, because if you're not accountable, then those things just aren't going to get done. And then if they don't get done, then they're delayed or they're not done at all. And so you set the tone, you set the pace. And right now, that for me, the first year and a half, it was self-led.
Sure.
And consultants were working primarily independently, right? With some oversight and coaching and things like that. But they're independent. And so right? When you're building a team, it's a new dynamic, and every time you invite a new person onto the team, you have new thoughts, new just a new dynamic as a whole. And so, building that culture together is what is and has been so important, right? Like we want to build a culture of excellence, and we're using our values to drive what that means. But like looking back, when I think about what are the things, or what did I learn through that process, is if you number one, like if you have a thought, that thought can become a belief. And if you have a belief and you say those words, then those words can become actions. And so for me,
Okay.
I have this huge belief that we are going to become the premier middle revenue cycle agency. That's what we're going to do. But we're only going to do that if we have the right people in the right roles doing the right work. And so we're being really intentional about who we're bringing on our team. We're being really intentional about making sure that we're not doing work outside of our scope.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Have you ever heard the phrase? Have you ever heard this? I don't know if it's a phrase, but it's your institutional knowledge as a leader uh, goes down. It's not linear. Like, as you grow, it's actually like exponential. Like, your institutional knowledge goes way down. So the faster you grow, the more people you have. Like, and this happened to me at Tarpon this year, and it's happened to me in previous lives. Like, at Health Rise, we had a similar situation, but we hired almost 20 people this year. And I don't know when the switch was, but at some point, like before, I'm talking to every single one. I'm signing off basically, like, okay, yeah, this person I think could work. And at some point during the year, it was like I didn't even talk to that person, and I'm doing the orientation, and it's like, oh, I meet them in the orientation.
yeah,
So like almost all the people that got hired after like August, I only met them in the orientation.
that's a shift. That's a huge shift. And
It's
that's awesome. So congrats.
No, it's
because
great.
you're letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you're like, oh, I don't actually know. Like, your knowledge of the organization starts to whittle down, and it's not linear. Like, you following me? It's like exponentially lower. So the faster and more people you get, it's like your institutional knowledge goes way down.
Right.
So it's this fascinating thing of like trying to figure out like, okay, well, I don't make all, like, now I have to have people and system in place to like make sure that like they're doing their thing.
Yes. We're in that exact stage right now. And it was something that I didn't prepare for.
Well, you don't know until you do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Like you don't know until you know. And then you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, we still have quite the destination to get to. Right. Like we're just on this journey. And so we're in that process right now of developing that framework so that we're downloading our brains. We're downloading everything that we do into process documentation so that it's repeatable and we're delivering consistent for our clients.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work. I mean,
Well, we had a situation. This is a different company that I started. I'll just tell you because it's an interesting journey. It was like the founding group was at one site and we crushed it. Like, we're crushing it. That founding group was just like, we went through the battles, right? Like highs and lows. And then we got it had been a couple years. We were ready to kind of like, so we get the next client, next site. Well, it's not proximity wise, not close. And really none of the founding team wanted to like go do that site, right? But it was like, so we hired the team to go do the next site. And it failed miserably. And I think it was one of those lessons where you're trying to scale, the quote unquote scale the business, but it's not as easy as people think it is. And there's this aspect of like that core group knew all the things, and had relationships. And then you go into this new one and you think you have some of that stuff and you actually don't have all of it. It was a fascinating lesson. I mean, a hard lesson to learn, but a fascinating one.
Yes. And that's exactly what we're trying to prevent. Right?
Yeah, because it's hard. Because
Right.
it's not you anymore.
No.
Well, at one point, did you learn the lesson of like, no one's gonna care as much about your business as you're gonna care? Because that one's a hard one.
It's really hard.
And it's not that they're not good people. It's just that they're never gonna care as much about your business as you're gonna care.
Yes. I learned that this year, over the course of the last year. And it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like it hits you one day. It's like, okay, okay, right.
You're like, why isn't so and so like doing the thing that I would do? And then you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, and I constantly have to remind myself, right, that not everyone has the same experience, and that's okay. We're building a team of strengths, and so, but knowing, right, like different people work at different levels, and different clients have different needs, and matchmaking has been something that we've been really good at. But then, right, there's the internal, right? We've got this external work that we're doing with clients, and then we've got this internal work that we're doing at J2, which is kind of above and beyond what we do for the clients. And right, like that was a big aha for me because we've been building for so long for the client experience that we haven't been building for the internal employee experience.
No,
And we need to.
it's hard.
And that's the, like,
Because those clients will have their own culture
Yes.
and own experience. And in that case, what I was telling you about, one of the things that happened is like you started to have like a different culture at that group site.
yes.
That site and that group, because these aren't small, these were big projects. So it was like 10 people, 12 people. Well, those 12 people and that organization they're working for has its own culture. And we hadn't established this is what we're going to be about, and constantly kind of like making sure that we're doing what we're going to be. That was a hard lesson.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, just over the last couple of weeks, a lot of the team that I have at J2, they're incredible, by the way, but they came from hospital operations also. And so there's such a big difference between hospital operations working within a healthcare system to moving to a vendor and providing a service for clients. It is a huge shift. And so over the last couple of weeks, we all downloaded, what does it mean to transition from being on the provider side to the consulting side, so that we can give people an awareness and understanding of
Right.
what to expect coming in, because it's different. It's really different.
We had a few like that, and they're awesome. They just took them some time to like figure out how to, move into this space. I don't know if you saw this. We saw this a couple times where it's like, I think they didn't think that they had authority in the space, or thought that there was like imposter syndrome kind of like hitting them, and they weren't as like demonstrative or something, and then you're like, what are you like, what's going on right now? Like you're like an expert in this space. You have to guide them. They're looking for you to guide them.
Yeah,
They would never been asked to do that.
Exactly. In a healthcare organization, like they're responsible for one specific function, where in a consulting environment, you're responsible for the process end to end. And that's very different, right? When you have a group of people that you're commonly working with, or you can rely on, or you can knock on their door and be like, hey, how's it going? Or I have a problem with this. It's like, we're a small group right now. And so we have to rely on each other, and we have to do our research, right? And then we have to bring those solutions back. But that was definitely one of the things that was called out in our documents, where it's like, you don't, like, you're expected to know more and execute on the entire process versus just that one little bitty component. So that's right. Like in the coding space, or in the auditing and education space, as an example, you might be asked to research or to evaluate a provider in an audit, and then you evaluate that provider, and then you develop all the criteria and the paperwork and whatnot, those results, and you give them to someone else who will then present them back. In our model, you're doing the audit, you're preparing the documentation, and you're presenting back. And so you're the person, you know them intimately. And you're the person when they have questions, you're going to be the person who
Is
follows
answering,
up.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different.
Do you find yourself having to, I would say, just be real intentional about following up with people because they may not be asking for help?
Yes.
I mean, not like, you don't want to be like, so how's it going every like 5 minutes, but they're also working independent, right? Like they're working at different sites and overseeing everything.
Exactly. Yeah, we actually created a daily huddle structure where we have just a quick client roundtable to talk through any issues, any barriers, recognition. We talk about what are our clients saying, right? We want to know and feel what they're feeling so that we can, plan accordingly. And so we do have just a quick touch base in the mornings to talk through anything like that. And then outside of that, I'm trusting people to do their own follow up and follow through. And if something, if I don't see something, then I'll follow up with it. But my team's pretty good about following through. So
At this point, are you the one owning the client relationships?
I am, and I'm in the process of training people on how to do that. It can't be me alone forever.
That's the hard part.
Yes, but I love it because we've got really great people who essentially embed themselves as part of like an extended part of the team, and so they build relationships and they, just they're included as part of the team. And so it makes it a lot easier for them to manage a portion of the relationship as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the easy. It's not a skill where you're like, oh, I learned how to do that. It's like, well, yeah, but it's also like, you got to take it. It's like taking how do you get this J2 to the next level? It's like, well, you got to have enough senior people that can manage their own relationships.
Yes.
And you're not the one doing it all the time because that gets very challenging.
Yeah, we are in the process again right now, going through a lot of change, but implementing a structure that will be able to support internal operations and then creating, I'm going to be taking more of that client management, client delivery, growth and development in the interim. And then, as we continue to grow, I'll eventually bring a person on to help with that too. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a journey.
Awesome. Well, Jessica, we're about time. You did great. So I don't know. This was awesome.
Well, thanks so much
Thanks
for
for
having
telling
me,
your
Ben.
story and
Yeah.
doing your stuff. If anyone needs coding, HIM solutions of any sort or consulting, reach out. We'll put your stuff on the site, obviously, but
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ben. It was
Yes.
a pleasure being here.
good luck with everything. You're going to do awesome. I know you will. So
Well, thank you.
good stuff.
All right.
Let's get that podcast going.
Podcast.
Yeah, podcast.